Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Creative Insider Podcast 97 with me, Georgi. And today we have another amazing guest. That's the Bulgarian graphic designer and brand specialist, Alex Mileva. She is also an NFT artist. She creates great portraits and she resells them as an NFT art. It was great talking to her, and it was a very interesting and a very useful conversation for people who want to try to create NFT art and to understand what is valuable and what is important to be successful within this new Web 3.0 world. So I suggest you to tune in and stick around during the whole conversation. I know it's a long conversation and it's a long form podcast, but you can do it into pieces and you can work out a little bit. You can listen it on your commute to work, whatever fits to you. I re-listen sometimes the episode myself because during the conversation I have to be focused on following the next question or be paying attention around the gear here if everything's working. So it's a nice companion for example, also long creative work that requires just repetitive um, operations and not so much concentration. So I suggest you to listen to the whole episode with Alex. And don't forget, if you like the Creative Insider podcast, to press that subscribe button on YouTube. And if you're listening on Spotify, just remember to also rate the podcast. You can rate now, to subscribe also on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever. Leave a good review if you like the podcast. If you don't like it, leave a bad review. Whatever, we accept critique. And also there is some exclusive content in a shorter form on Instagram. If you would like to follow us on Instagram, you'll find the descriptions below. And also on TikTok, Twitter, as we're going to hear from this conversation. Twitter is very relevant for the NFT world. And also we have a newsletter, a monthly newsletter curated by Désirée, not by me, but it's a very nice newsletter too. We tell you a little bit. Every time there is a different topic, and we also sum up a little bit what happened in the past month. So these are the options. And if you like TCI and want to support it, it's all free stuff. You can just click and it will mean a lot to us. That means that our work will be rewarded. But enough from me. Thank you very much. And now I want to leave you to the conversation with Alex Mileva. Have a good one. Hello, Alex. Welcome to the podcast.
Hello, thank you for having me.
It's a real pleasure. I always like to introduce a little bit my guests, and I'm so happy to have another guest from Bulgaria because I've always tried to get some people from Bulgaria to show to the world what kind of talents we have in such a small country that maybe it's not so known around the globe. And I met you in a Twitter space. It's been very funny to explore some Twitter space lately, and you caught my attention with your work. You are an NFT artist, we can say. But for the people who don't know you, you can decide to introduce yourself briefly as best at the best you think defines you.
Hello everybody. I'm Alex, and my whole life I was doing art. I'm concentrating in illustration in NFT, and I'm an art director in a big cosmetic company here in Bulgaria. So I work a lot with colors and forms and everything.
That sounds interesting. And I always like to start from the beginning of each person because for me, it's important that who is listening can get inspiration from the stories of the other creatives. And if it's someone that's thinking about taking a career or a path into art and design, to understand where everybody comes from so that they can whether relate or not relate to that story and get some useful learnings. Oh, what was the reason, or what was the moment in your life when you decided you wanted to become a professional designer or to work somehow with creativity?
There's always been creative work at home. My parents, my grandmother sewed, my grandfather was carpenter, my father made all kind of things from cars to electronics at home. My mother loved to paint as an amateur, of course, not really professional, but still. And I have a twin and an older sister, and we have always painted together and always play with what we paint. So yeah, we are a creative family, and I'm so grateful that all the people around me never stopped me from doing art. No one told me you should be, for example, like doctor or whatever. They always say, okay, you're doing it, you feel it, okay, go for it.
I'm an architect myself, and we have had a lot of architects on the show, and most of them became architects because that was the only creative field where the parents were like, yeah, architect sounds like legit, so you can do architecture,
Yeah.
but nothing else. And you have a twin, you said. Is she also an NFT artist? Not that somebody mixes you with your twin if you look the same.
No, we're not looking the same. We're
Okay.
completely different. And with my older sister, we are more connected than as a
It's ecstatic, so how you look
yeah,
like.
yeah. But both of them, they studied textile. I don't know how to say
Yeah,
textile.
textile, it's like, yeah.
Textile, yeah. And but I moved from there because it was too boring for me. And in my school, I graduated wood carving and graphics. Not that much in this, but yeah, three of us work in art. But after when we started actually to search for work, they chose to how to say to develop families, not that into working like me in the corporate world, you know. And my twin doesn't make a lot of art now. She raised her kids, and the older one, she really likes to knit some things for the kids, you know, like coats and hats and whatever. It's really interesting that she's still doing some art, but not really professional, both of them.
A really creative family with a lot of creative directions. And you said
Yes,
also you come
different.
from this background with also carpenter in a family. So
Mhm.
what was your education in the you mentioned already you've been in a school that with this creative direction already. So you are you from Sofia, or where did you study, and what were your beginnings in this design education?
I'm from Pernik. It's a city near Sofia, and I was studying in one village near Pernik, not actually in the city. And it was the only school that gives you that kind of education with wood carving and graphics. So it was really interesting. Always teachers there call us special kids because there's not a lot of schools like that. And I have that support from my family that I had a carpentry studio at home where I was carving for like 4 years or something. But it turned out that I had problems with my hands, with my joints, and I had to stop because it's too heavy for the body, you know, when you have to do the things. And I stopped that type of art because of my health, and I turned out on digital because it's safe and cleaner. You don't need a special place to do that. And it's not that difficult for the body as wood carving. You always have neck pain, back pain, hand pains, you know, a lot of pain.
Yeah,
And
because also you get also all the vibration, not only like the
yes,
heavy, but all the vibration, and that probably it's
yeah,
not
I
good for you.
work with a lot of machines, you know, like fresa. I don't know how
Yeah, yeah,
free
yeah, yeah,
fresa.
it's a freeze,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
to
a lot of things. and it's not really, the body in the end is not really happy.
But it's like electrical ones, right? Like you
Yes.
carve maybe by hand something, and then you make it like you polish it with the freeze.
No, no. Our school was that kind that you need to see the scars you make, not to make it that blurred and round and stuff. It's more messy, so you can feel the power of the tools and everything on the wood. So I use the other things for example, you need to make a deeper layer. And to not make it harder with hours with my hands, I just do it with machine and then make it with the tools.
I see. But sounds really interesting. And like, were there, you said special kids, but were there also a lot of girls in this? Because I don't know, it's fascinating to me that you got into carpentry, because yourself have mentioned so many creative fields, and for me it's so fascinating. And also this kind of professions, I think they're kind of disappearing, right? Because not a lot of people want to do them anymore.
They don't want because it's too difficult and not that valuable for people. So in the end, if you dedicate yourself only on that, you should be, let's
Because your voice froze because of the connection. You said if you dedicate only to that, you should be what?
You should be poor and and in pain. I'm joking, of course, but
no, yeah, as you said, it's not valuable to people because you can buy
they don't understand it.
Yeah, exactly. But it's a really valuable skill, and I think it's kind of a pity that maybe with some in a couple of generations probably we won't have these skills anymore because nobody will practice it.
If metaverse comes and life changes, probably we'll not need that kind of art, or it will be really, really expensive only for some collectors that it's with a lot of value, so you can touch it, if everything happens like we think of.
Well,
we'll need.
I don't know if you know this guy. He's an Italian sculptor. He's called Iago. It's written with a J. And he studied at the Art Academy of Rome. And he was really, really passionate about all the sculptures from Leonardo, Michelangelo, and so on. Yeah. And he wanted to become like them. So he started doing...
Everybody wants.
No, but nobody nowadays does this kind of sculptures. So he started making sculptures like the old sculptures, like very, not something abstract, but very, very like realistic. And he uses also a lot of machines, a lot of drills. And he became very, very famous because he's one of the few people that does this. He has exposed in several museums around the world and in New York. And he became very famous when the last Pope left the church, the German Pope Ratzinger, because he had made a sculpture of him, and he wanted to donate the sculpture to the Vatican, but he didn't have eyes. Instead of having eyes, he had like holes, and they told him you have to fill the eyes, and he refused. And when the Pope left, he spoiled him. He was like with dress, and he changed the sculpture, and he became naked. It's a very famous, but it's only the upper body. You don't see the whole body. I suggest you to check it out. It's a really interesting.
Yes.
And there is another guy, also Italian. I don't remember his name. What he does these sculptures that look like the ancient sculptures and put tattoos on them. That's also very interesting.
That's interesting.
So I think that also for this old let's say, older way of doing things, there should be some application. You just need to find a creative way to resell it, as you were saying, to become like
Yes, yes.
to build up
That's
like.
that's that's the important thing, yeah. So because now you can buy it from everywhere, and it's not really special, let's say, but in the future probably it's gonna be really valuable to have that kind of people, because a lot of things people don't think it will disappear, and when disappear, then it's valuable.
Yeah, I'm really curious to see what kind of things people gonna invent for these skills and how they're gonna apply them in the future. And so how old were you when you went to this school? It was that like instead of going to the regular school, you went to this carpentry
Yes,
school. So you were like
yes, high school.
teenager.
Yeah, and let's say I was really diving into wood carving and graphics, black and white graphic, not really color. And I was thinking, oh, I can do a lot with colors. I'm not into it. But with the time, I developed that, not developed, I just realized I have an eye for the colors and how to combine them. So I started to, because of the hands, I had to learn something new to do, and not to be that expensive, because when you're a painter, traditional painter, you always have to buy a lot of expensive things to draw. Paintings, um, platno, how it was.
It's like the canvas.
Canvas, yeah, and every tools you need. So that's why I decided digital gonna be, and it's not that messy, and you can do it whatever you are with modern tools, like tablets and stuff. So, but back then it was really difficult to study the software, because uh, there was no information so easily accessible like it's now. And the lessons were with pictures and a lot of text, picture and then text. And do you know how many times I have felt like throwing my computer through the window, because I don't understand where I have to go so I can have that option that they talk about, because it's just a screenshot of the inner menu or something. But yeah, of course, over the time I started paying for different courses, and I didn't have a lot of people with same interest around me. I wasn't in a team of designers or something when I started to work in the beginning, because I started to have interest in digital my last year in the school. So I had to start working, and I started working in some advertising agencies and stuff. And it was really difficult, because when you're the only one that doing it, it's hard to ask a question, to have a support. And the best way to learn is from others, I think. So I started going on events like Bulgarian Design Group, for example. I don't know if you know them. We have that kind of group that they're really active and support young artists.
This is like
They
a Facebook group, and then they create events, or what kind of group it is?
Yes, Facebook group, but they have meetings, events on some clubs, and after that there is a party that you can have a conversation with other artists. It's really nice.
They create
And
like a
I
meetup, like
Yes, yes,
a
yes.
creative meetup where you move basically from the digital space into a real place where you guys meet and exchange ideas. And oh,
Yes,
that sounds
there's
really
always
cool.
a lecture that you have with a person that have a lot of experience in the field, and it's really interesting. First, you're hearing about this way like a story, and then you can ask your questions and stuff, and you have that kind of community around yourself, like people who are like you, and you shouldn't be how to say that, embarrassed that you're in the beginning or you don't understand something. It's really nice to have a community that you can lean on sometimes.
No, definitely. Then you also motivate each other, and somehow keeps you accountable, because if you go from one meetup to the next one and you haven't done anything new and everybody has done something, then you're like,
Yeah.
oh goddamn, I hate them. I didn't do stuff. But you said
For me,
you
yeah.
said back in the days, like when did you start doing digital paintings? Because back in the days with you said back in the days when you had only screenshots with text. When around what
Uh,
year did you start?
like 10 years ago, something like that. 10, 12, oh my God, 20, 12 years ago. Yeah, it was that long ago. And I never believed that I have to learn art in my, how to say, after high school. I understand that art is something that you don't learn 8 hours a day and you stop and then you go to whatever you do. And that's why I didn't have my university bachelor with art. I choose social activities because they give me a lot of understanding of society and how it works. Not really. For me, it's like to lose 4 years to not work because you have to be on every lecture there. So you can do art in the university, and I didn't choose that because for me, it's not. That's not the point, and you shouldn't. There is a lot of good things to learn in university, of course, but not art in this way that we have it here. I don't know. Probably things changed, but for back then, it was better for me to not learn that this way. And later I realized that design is not just a colorful picture, and because when you learn that in university, they always tell you that you're an amazing artist and you have to do whatever you do, and people gonna see that in your art and stuff. No, because design and art are two different things. And mm, how to say, I just
Well,
felt.
art is something that comes from within you. It's more like the visual result of your emotions, spirit, or ideas. And I see design is more like visual expression of some value through functionality. So like
Yes, yes, that's
it's more guided. It's more like thought through, and art is more like felt, like it's more coming from
you
within.
can feel it again. You can feel it again, but I think it's just a business. What is business when it leads to sell? That's it. So you should make design in the end to have a sale. So it's with art techniques, with colors and forms. But in the end of the day, you should that piece of poster, advertisement, whatever, have to sell. That's the difference. So because our rules as an artist is to be beautiful, to be nice for the eye and stuff. But in the end, if you have to sell, it has to sell, despite it's gonna be beautiful or not. It has to be working, and that's the difference. And if people don't because many people say, oh, I'm so artistic and stuff, why they don't accept my design, why I have to make like 20 options for that. In the end, to talk to sellerman, it's different. And that's the thing people have to understand between two of them, the
But
difference between two of them.
you mentioned you have this arty background, and you've studied at this school of arts, and then you
Mhm.
started a university by studying social sciences.
Yes.
Um, and how did you enter the design field? Were you like a self-taught designer, uh, or basically by self-taught I mean you have had these skills that you wanted to apply into the sense of design, and then maybe you needed to learn a little bit more about design, but
Mhm.
you basically never studied at university like design.
Yes, yes, I'm self-taught, and I paid courses, different courses online or in some kind of academics here in Sofia. And I really recommend, if it's okay to recommend, Chris Do and the Future. that's they learn a lot about the business of design, because after you have the skills, the software, you know the software, and you have that skills, you need to think more strategic, to understand how business of design works. So you should be happy in the field, because in the end you're gonna be disappointed because of all the comments and critiques, everything, and you're gonna say, why I should do that when people don't understand my art? Because it's not to understand you. You have to understand the client so you can serve to the sell. Yeah, you're driven by the sell, not. It's okay to be arty when it needs, but sometimes, most of the time, only the big brands can have that kind of art design methods, I think, because they can pay to how much time we just do stuff and they don't see the world. They just stay in some folders in the computer, because most of the time a lot of big teams decide if this art is okay for the commercial or for the art or for the advertisement and whatever. So it's really complicated, and it's not about that art is bad for that. It's just if people don't the market don't understand it, you can't sell it. So it's just not
Yeah,
functional.
it's like if you have a certain style, let's say, I guess, in for example, Nike comes to you and tells you, I want you to create this design for this commercial or for this packaging or for whatever. In your
Yeah.
style, it's something that would fit more, I don't know, something with with more like, I don't know, soft, it's a more soft design, soft graphics with other colors. And the Nike branding, it's very precise. It's always around this just do it. It's more like
Yeah.
street
More
art. It's
bold.
more bold or street art or that Nike spirit that's everybody knows. And then of course you cannot do your art or your style because it's not gonna be suiting their brand. And you mentioned Chris Do. I mean, we've been mentioning it a lot. I like his videos. I'm a little bit disappointed lately because they post all these shorts instead of the long form videos
Mhm.
like before. And I like when he does the long form things. Have you taken also some of his classes, his courses, or more like live courses in Sofia or around Bulgaria?
Oh, no, I'm just watching his content in YouTube, and I really enjoy his student academy, where you can see, because almost never saw that kind of format for our work, how they give the brief, how people start to work on the brief, how they make their research to end up with the concept and everything. That's almost never happens. You can't see it anywhere except if you do that. So I'm really impressed by that academy that they film. It's really nice. Um, but no, Bulgarian Design Group trying to do that, to have that kind of stuff to teach people, but it's not yet that professional as Chris Do.
Yeah, I
So
think
it's
it
on a
takes
different level.
it takes time. Also, like the scale of the United States is always so much bigger than anywhere else. But for sure, I'm gonna be checking myself the Bulgarian Design Group, and gonna I'm hoping to find more talents and guests to have on the
Oh
podcast
yes,
there.
they have guests every month, and there's a meetup every month. So it's really interesting, and they started to recording it so you can watch them after the live. It's really interesting, and there's another group. BDG critique, so you can post your art or design, and all the people, no matter how professional are they can tell you that's okay, that's not okay, here is the rule that you can put here and whatever. So it's really nice community.
of course.
And it's
I'm
on Bulgarian because most people are not so secure when it comes to an English content. Not every time you're open to that. So it's nice.
I'll look for the bold one. I think that it's interesting because I've had a lot of people from different countries on the podcast, and I think that what it's common for people like that are from Bulgaria or other, so to say, less advanced countries is that they are
Mhm.
always so hungry to get better, to get very good, and they're also very humble. Like you were saying, like, oh, they do the same thing as Chris Doe, but not at that level. And probably it's not that much worse than Chris Doe, but there is this humble spirit. And in other countries, like for example, I'm in Germany, or like people are not that. I mean, not everybody, of course, but people
Yeah.
like to have, for example, a weekend off and be like, now I'm gonna be off. I'm gonna just, I'm not gonna spend my free time or improving my skills because this is work, and my work has to maybe pay for me to go to an extra class or something because I mean, I'm not criticizing that. It's good because people can
Yeah.
relax, but it's a very common thing that from these countries I see the most, from India, from other countries that you wouldn't expect. They are the hungriest people to learn and to get better. And I think it's important to explore these worlds and these communities because I think in the next years there will be a lot of great stuff coming from there. And I'm curious. So you moved, I guess, to Sofia to study at university,
Yeah.
because this is very not in Sofia or somewhere else.
Yeah. In different city, Blagoevgrad. It's
Ah, yes.
yeah.
And so, how did you transition from just being a self-taught designer and a university student to be professionally a designer, to join a professional company?
Um, I started working for a local magazine in Pernik. Went through an advertising agency, but I didn't like it there much because advertising agency, it's a lot of project with not much that much value. It's something fast. You should do that business cards and go for another. And I didn't like it much. I saw some paintings in a gallery for a while I was working on their website. Sure, something combine the things. I was still learning then, and finally I found myself in a company for bio products in Sofia, where I learned a lot about how selling as a business works, so I can be better in design. So my biggest university probably was that company where I was learning a lot. And now I'm currently in a big cosmetic company, an art director. And in that company, I was allowed to develop the design department from the scratch, which helped me to understand um, everything, how everything has to work to be good for in-house design, because it's different than the agency. Because when you're in-house, you're concentrating only in the company needs. Not You don't have like 100 projects in different fields and stuff. You have to concentrate in one thing and to make it look like a family, like everything is connected. So for the last 2 years, I've been developing a lot of brand concepts and storytelling, which is 80% of design, if you ask me. If someone comes to you and tell you, come on, give me a look for this thing that I have to sell, uh, I really started to feel difficult for me to work on that kind of project without a story and the whole brand work behind them, because you want to sell that product, but if the customer doesn't understand the product and don't know what's behind that product, it's really because now people read. read a lot in the internet, and they know a lot. You can't lie them that easier as before. Before you just say, that's the product, you should have it. And people are like, okay, I don't have any information about that. I'm gonna try it and I'm gonna get it. But now it's not that way. They start to read a lot about it, to compare different products of the same category. It's really difficult. So if you, it's not enough only to have that product on the shelf, you know, in the shop. So it's a lot of processes before that product become part of the person that you want to sell it. You know, I don't know if
Yeah, no, it's so it's
I
what
can understand it.
no, it's the perfect explain. It's like branding.
Yeah.
It's like we've been talking about this stuff in other also podcasts. We have had I don't know if you know her on podcast. I think 89 or 79. I don't remember anymore. We have had Debbie Millman. If you've heard of her, she's
No, I
she's
must check it.
a big brand strategist. She's teaching branding at the American Graphic Design Institute, I think, or
So nice.
in New York, and she's been behind the branding of Star Wars, the branding of Burger King, among others. She's worked with Pepsi. We've had Mauro Porcini, who's the chief design officer of PepsiCo, and we've been
Wow,
talking
so
about
nice.
we've been talking about branding and how it's not enough anymore to just sell something. You have to have the whole story, the whole spirit of the brand. And nowadays, branding skills are very important also for our personal brands, because especially for the design world, if you think about every more famous person that's in any design, for example, Chris Doe also have a very strong personal brand,
Yeah.
and
Yes.
that brand reflects on the Future Academy and so on. So I think it's important to get educated yourself about these topics. And I'm curious, it's very interesting that you mentioned that you've built up the design team from scratch. What was that like? So you got hired by a company and they told you, okay, we want you to become our art director and to create a design team. I mean, I don't know
No.
how old you are, but you're young, so I guess it felt also a little bit stressful to start from scratch doing something like that.
No, they hired me as a normal graphic designer, and started to work on the projects like every other designer. You know, we were two back then, and with the time, it's just I had that feeling that I have to change the way how things happen there, because when you work for a couple of brands, it's really hard to manage them if you're two designers. And for example, the other designer works only at one brand, and you have to work to the other brand. And when the other designer is not there, you can't work easily on the projects, you know. And it's you have to be replaceable in that kind of structure, because how to say, there's not so much secrets around, but you should understand how the brand have to work. And if you only work on one brand, the other brand it's like something different, you can be really helpful about it. So with the time, we started to build another structure that everyone from the team have to know everything about the brands, you know, so you can be reliable to each other. When something happens with one of us, we should be able to proceed the work about it. So I started firstly with the painting, how people see your products. So the visualization of the products have to be really good, not with some photograph skills of, with the telephone, you know. Uh, and then I started to develop 3D visualizations, and I really needed it back then because when you create one tube, for example, because it's a cosmetic, or one bottle, I can use it in couple of projects. And in the beginning, it was really hard to do for the whole brands this look, everything to look really nice on 3D because I was not really good at 3D. And I went to the course to have some knowledge about it. I can't say I do 3D good, but it's good enough for my usage. And this is the first main thing. After that, you should make people that work with you to work at the similar way. You know how you order your layers, your files and everything. So to be easy when I work with your files to not be messed there. Name your layers and stuff. And to implement it in work with the brand managers after that or with the salespersons, you should make that connection with everybody to be the same, so everybody to understand what they need to do, so we can develop the project and finish it nice and on time.
Yeah.
That's the other thing.
So basically developing a workflow and
Yes,
standard. I did one of my first podcasts because I was doing the first podcast to understand if I really like to do it. I talked alone on some topic that for me was important. And for example, one thing that I learned here in Germany when I started, because I came here as Erasmus student from Italy. And after 4 months, I started being an intern in an architectural office. And
so nice.
what I've learned at the office is that we had a standard file for everything. So we had a standard file for our building designs. We had standard files. I needed to make a standard file for Photoshop. So as you say, that if I'm sick or if I'm in holiday, if somebody
Yeah.
else is at the office, can take this file and use it for another project. And that it's very important to create, even if you're like a freelancer or if you're still a student, to create your own workflow, because it will save you so much time and also mental energy, because you don't have to start from scratch and be arty. This is
Absolutely.
like a moment where it's not good to be arty. You have to, it's like for example, I have this, I try to go to the gym, and if I don't have my bag prepared for the gym, I won't go, because just thinking about how hard it is to check if I have all the stuff,
Yeah.
I stay home. So I think this is the same way to prepare your workflow. You mentioned
Thank you.
you do 3D, I guess graphic design is also a lot to do with Adobe, like Photoshop, graphic,
Yeah.
InDesign, Illustrator. What are the tools of your work? What do you do the 3Ds, and what are the general tools you use?
I use mostly Adobe, of course, Photoshop, Illustrator, not that much InDesign. I started with InDesign back then with the magazine I had to work with, but not my tool, let's say that way. Um, and the 3D, I started with 3ds Max. Firstly, I went on a course for it, but it's really, really hard. And you should put so much time and energy in it. So I can't model yet good with the program. I just made the visualization. I put materials and make the lights and everything and put the scene, not that much modeling. So it's a big thing that I have to do if I want to make things better. But now what I'm doing, Adobe have a really nice tool, Adobe Dimension. I don't know if you heard about it. It's really nice, really easy, really intuitive. And the modeling, I can do it in Photoshop and Illustrator, and then I can use it in Dimension. It's not, how to say, it's not really for professional needs, but it's okay for my needs and what I need to do. For example, I can easily do some cosmetic tube or a bottle. After that, I can move it in the space. I can make it with material I want to put the label on it, to have the light, and after that I can make a post-production in Photoshop really easily. It's not that heavy as a software, you know. It's easily for, especially for products like field like mine, that you have to do things fast. You don't have time for all that heavy 3D processes, you know. So I'm really happy they made that, and it's nice.
I love this approach because myself, when I was younger as an architect, and I see that in a lot of designers, they think in order to do this, I have to first learn that and be, for example, perfect at doing modeling in 3ds Max and texturing and everything. And I think with the years and the experience, I understand more and more that it's not important what you know. It's important to
Yeah.
know how to obtain what you want at the
Yes.
end. It's not important
Yeah.
to say, I'm so good at 3ds Max. No, you just need to know how to do your image you want. And if you need to do it with Adobe,
Different tools.
how did you call the software? Adobe Dimension?
Dimension, yes.
Dimension.
It's really nice.
Then this is another highlight of, because in every single episode I learned something that it's obvious for my guests, but for me it's like, oh my god, I didn't know about this thing, and it's a very useful tip. But to go back to the point, what was really interesting
Yeah.
about your background when I met you in the Twitter space, it was your own Twitter space, and you were drawing, and
Yeah.
I discovered that you are an NFT artist, NFT creator. So how did you're the first NFT by Bulgarian creator I'm meeting, and we have had some episodes about NFT because, in my opinion, it's a great way to monetize your design or your skills. And this is the whole point of of this conversation, is to inspire others to make money out of your creativity, because it's there is this book, I don't remember who's the author, it's called Real Artists Don't Starve. So it's not the point of being like an artist and starving. It's about
Yeah.
being a designer and an artist and make money out of it and have money to live and to have a happy life.
Normal life.
Yes. So how did the whole digital painting restarted again?
Yeah. Because I'm working on with different clients, because I'm a freelancer too, except my corporate job. Every day I receive criticism, guidance, and comments all the time how to do stuff, which are extremely tiring, sometimes more than other times, because I clearly separate design from art in my head. I needed a personal project where I could get rid of the people's opinion. So I decided to challenge myself to draw quick sketches every day. And I like to watch my style change over the time and experiment with different software. I also included Twitter in this challenge. It turned out, whatever I published my sketches, people were most interested in Twitter. It was a surprise for me because until recently, I did not accept this network as suitable of art, you know. NFT changed that, of course, but this thing happens before I know NFT is rising. So one day I announced that I was drawing profile pictures for anyone who wanted for free. Just ask me, send me something, because most of the people in Twitter, you know, they like incognito. They don't want to show their face or name. But it was really funny how people were okay to send me pictures so I can draw them, and they to put them on the profile picture, you know. And this is why I met a lot of great people who know and read about crypto, and they really steered me in that direction. And I'm so thankful that they had patience with me to teach me about it. So my interest in the digital future has been great for many years, and now I understand the metaverse and NFT are a step forward to Web3, as I mentioned before. So for me, it's not only the opportunity to make NFT, it's a must. So I can be part of the future on the internet, you know. Everybody will own something, so why not they own my stuff too? Otherwise, it's just like you drawing and it's nothing happening.
No, totally. But I'm really curious. What was your? So you mentioned you wanted to have your side project in which you
Mhm.
didn't need to have this stress of the work.
Yeah.
How long ago you decided to start the practice with the sketching, and how did you keep yourself accountable to do sketches every day? Because it always sounds very easy, and I've been thinking about it that
It's
the things that gives result in anything, they're nothing funny, they're not fun, and they're nothing fancy. So let's say you want to run a marathon. um, Oh, something is ringing. I don't know what. Okay, some phone. Um, I'll cut this part off. Anyways, the well, I was saying that everything that it gives you a good result, it's nothing like that. It's funny, like sketching every day. It's nothing funny. Or if you want to run a marathon, you don't have to do anything else but go and run every day, and you'll get good at running. Did you have some sort of ritual, or how did you build the habit to sketching something? Because sometimes good purposes don't stick so for a long time.
I guess it's the community that I built with the time, that people in Twitter that wait for the sketch. And we talked about it. And sometimes when I was not able to draw this day, they just like, oh, where's the drawing? What happened? Everything's okay, and they stimulate you to do it. And it's like, sometimes it's really hard. I just sit there, open the tablet, and I just, okay, I don't want to do anything, you know. I just don't have an idea. I don't know. But then I start sketching something just to have something. And sometimes I was uploading something really bad, and I was like, okay, for this time with this mood, that's everything I can do. And this is really nice because you have people that supporting you, and they say, okay, it's nice. You just had something. It's not really because I have that bad habit that I sometimes I can't finish the things. You just start the painting and never finish it. And what keeps me alive every day, it's like it's a fast sketch. I don't need to stress over details. I just do it and post it, whatever. No one can say anything. It's my project. I see it that way. You can say stuff on that. So probably this freedom that project gave me to experiment, to not to feel free from that details, pixel perfect stuff, and so on. And with the time, it just got a little bit serious with NFTs.
And
That's
what
the
what were the tools when you started doing the digital sketches, and what tools do you use now to do that?
uh, I started with Wacom tablet and Photoshop
Which
years
one?
ago.
Because Wacom have also those stuff.
Wacom
Uh, I,
Intus Pro. I had
okay,
to be professional from the
okay.
beginning.
Isn't it quite
Yeah.
expensive to have one of those?
Yes, but I believed because when I bought it, because actually I started 10 years ago with bamboo,
Mm-hmm.
Wacom bamboo. It was really stupid, small machine. But I was like, okay, I can draw on that. It's not really functional. And then I had a project for one of my freelance clients that I had to draw cover of book, and I started drawing, and it was really fun. And she really liked it. And I was like, okay, people probably like that. Okay, I'm gonna do that more. And but it was really difficult because the tablet is big and have to be in front of the PC, and I can't move. I can draw only in that room, at that desk, on that computer. And I was like, okay, I have to buy something else. And then I was thinking between iPad and Lenovo Yoga. And then I decided, okay, iPad is Apple. Apple is special. I probably need something more, easy. And I chose Lenovo Yoga when I started to draw. But of course, it's not a professional tool that you can use for drawing. I draw, I draw with it like 1 year, And after that, I just bought iPad.
Which
I
one?
decided to buy
The iPad Pro?
iPad Pro, yeah, the last generation with the last pen. It's amazing. If you don't want to draw, you just put it in your hands and it draw itself. It's that good how the feeling is when you're drawing with it.
And
It's so intuitive.
and which software are you drawing on that? With Photoshop?
Procreate.
Oh, Procreate.
They are up. Yeah, it's really nice. But the only issue is that it's perfect
Based.
pixel based. It's not a vector like Illustrator.
Yeah, but
Illustrator.
I mean, you can paint also on Photoshop, from what I know, and that's also pixel based. Like, I think you can use painting also on Photoshop. I know that a lot of architects use Procreate for architectural sketches on the iPad.
It's really intuitive and nice, and you just feel really good while you're working on it. It's really nice. I'm really surprised. I was scared to buy Apple product because of that, because I'm gonna be like, oh, I can't use anything else. But yeah, I understand why people are so happy about it.
And do you need to buy this do you need to buy this software, or is it totally?
No, you have to buy Procreate, and after that you can buy brushes, different brushes.
Okay.
But yeah, because you can use the basics, of course. But for example, when I use another brushes, my art changes. It's normal because there's another forms that you use and shapes of the brush, and the effects are different. So it's important to buy different brushes so you can enjoy and experiment more what you can get. Do you know, most of the time when I post more artistic art from me, people ask me, is that a real painting or is digital? So people get easily confused when I use that kind of brushes, that it's traditional art on Canva.
And you started doing this, and after how long people contacted you and told you, do you know that you can do NFTs out of this?
Year and a half. It's just I met a lot of people, I talked with a lot of people, and then there was one account that talked to me and said, okay, there's NFT, look at that, and I was like, oh, what's that? I don't understand crypto and everything. And he really invested time in me to show me and to explain for me to understand what this is, and still he gives me some tips and advices about it. He's really supportive about that, and that's the good part in NFT community, that people around it are really supportive. And when you start talking about, it's just, how to say, it's awardable in the end of the day, because you learn and you can teach, and there's no competition. We are like one big family.
And that's the guy that was also in the room when I met you.
Yes.
And did
Because
he?
he's really into it. He knows a lot
Yeah,
about it.
yeah. He was. I don't remember his name, but he was more like a guy that's into finance and crypto and stuff, and then he knows about NFT, of course.
Yes, but the difference is that he value that part of the art. He understand what he own. Most of the people just, I'm gonna own this picture because probably it's gonna be successful and people gonna, to make money. But I believe he's not this way. He actually understands what he's buying, and on the price, because I don't sell really expensive. I have sold only 2 NFTs, one-to-one so far. My first project was to develop a mini collection for the 5 human senses, but I've been sold one. 2 of them are in progress, but the truth is that I'm torn between my work in design and drawings, and often design wins the battle because pay the bills, and I don't know how to find the time and energy to advertise myself in the NFTs, because we know marketing here is sometimes even more important than the drawing itself. People just have to know more about you, and this happens with a lot of marketing, with a lot of spaces, talking with people. It's just another profession you should be in. It's not like something you can do on a side, or I don't know, or you have to be really famous already designer to make it on the side.
I can give you a tip. I've had Marco Montemagno. It's a very famous Italian guy who talks a
Mhm.
lot about marketing, and he has had, if you know Gary V, he's something like Gary V in Italy. Like he's this guy that he's been doing videos for a very long time
Mhm.
about marketing. He's into digital businesses. He has several startups. He has sold several startups. And he has started his NFT collection last year. He made 10,000 NFTs. He's a former ping pong player. So the NFTs are this ping pong shaped, what are they called? The thing you hit the ball with in the ping pong, I don't know what they're
Yeah.
called. Anyways, they called crazy furious, because he says in Italian, you must be a crazy furious to do this kind of business when he talks about businesses. And
Mhm.
with his NFT collection, he gives you special access to his community, because he has all over his social media platforms, I think, more than 1 million people. And with this, he sold, I think, 3 or 4 thousand NFTs out of the 10,000, and then he stopped because he made like a tiny. You can sell 10,000 NFTs in 1 month. Who buys them, and then it's closed.
Yeah.
And then you have a special access to his Discord group and stuff like that. And when he was promoting his NFT project, one day he posted on his Instagram, "Hey, if you want to interview me about my NFT project, I'm open. Email this email, and you can interview me in the next week." And I sent an email by thinking, okay, so many people will send an email.
Yeah.
Let's see, let's hope. And his team replied to me, and I interviewed him, and we had a short podcast, like 40 minutes. And I was telling him, because he's very, very good at marketing, and he has been a journalist, and he has interviewed Jeff Bezos, and now he's interviewing all the people from Binance, all the people from the crypto
Wow.
world, because he's trying to expand from just being Italian to being international.
Mhm.
And I was asking him, because I want to do some NFTs too related to the podcast. And I was telling him, okay, but he's called Marco. I said, Marco, like, you are very famous and you're not even an artist. Is this like, what is this NFT actually just another way to make money for people who are already very famous or very affirmed artists? Or is there any chance for smaller players to take a spot into this world? And he told me something very interesting that's like a very entrepreneurial way of thinking. He said, look, this is not so big yet. It's like big, but it's not like mainstream. And he said the
Mhm.
community, it's on a global scale, it's small, but with a lot of big players within
Mhm.
the thing. So he said the only way, if I were small, if I didn't have 1 million community, it's to think about something smart and interesting to do with NFTs, so that you get noticed and people start talking about it. So
Mhm.
like his tip was very interesting. He said, like, try to do something that it's another way of using NFT, and people, the community, it's big enough with rich enough people to start talking about it, and you can make yourself a name, and then you'll be also recognized for your way of using it. Or he was mentioning like it's, as you said, a lot of people now try to basically scam you by he said also that a lot of people were doing fakes of his NFT collection, because he said it's a problem that I can take one of your picture from Instagram, for example, like your Instagram, and go make an NFT and sell it, and basically there is not much about that you can do, like if somebody does that. So this is also very, it shows that it's still a little bit of the far west in the world of NFT. So this is what he told me. And then he said also like you told me to go to spaces, to Clubhouse, to look within the community. And yeah, so it was very interesting. But the guy that helped you with NFT yourself, did he do it just because he liked your art, or is something that you needed to pay for his how it's called, consultancy? Because also this is something that's starting now. A lot of people are becoming consultants for example, brands that are starting to do NFTs. So they opening consulting on agencies on the world of NFT.
No, I think he just enjoyed the art we talked about. He's a collector too. He bought an NFT from me. So I think it's he just liked what I do, probably because in Bulgaria we have a small community, and I'm part of that community. It's not that easy to, how to say, to meet that kind of people around you. So probably he wants to help me because of that, because it's a small community, small artist, in the beginning he just like what I do and wants to help me. I began with the attitude that now I'm gonna draw, like, because I don't understand how it works, of course. I'll draw like 100 pictures and it will rain millions around me. But no, it doesn't work that way. Because of that things you said, you can't make easy money in that place. So probably once you can, but after that, people just understand you want to make money and ignore you, because this community is really strong. If they see that you only want to earn money, they will just get rid of you somehow. They'll not share your stuff, they'll not talk about it. You only want to make money, and that's all. The truth is that I think a lot about these issues in the community, and how exactly to build my strategy in that society. Maybe it bothers me a little because I don't understand much how it works, what people really need, but as you said, in metaverse it's easy to be rich outside and to be rich in the metaverse, because it's normal, you have money to pay about stuff. But in the end, I think people need valuable content. And why I'm doing this for now is just to show my essence as an artist, to build my community, to share my art and vision and passions about life. And if you like me, okay, support me. I don't like to be that aggressive, like I'm showing my art, here is my art, buy my art. No, I don't want to manipulate you as a customer to buy my product. I need you to see yourself in my colors and shapes, to live that emotions that I left there in the art. And I want my collectors to buy my art because they care and it's valuable for them, not because just to earn money from it. And I believe when you care, you're able to earn. Otherwise, you're just driven by earning, and it's kind of, you forget why everything started. And that's why people say that small accounts, the real accounts, gonna be bigger with the time, because now the big fishes, they just make everything with money they have. Some artists have big teams behind them. They make everything. They just the look. So I don't know. It's complicated. It's not that easy. But I believe that when you have something valuable, you will earn in the end of the day, one day.
Yeah,
Nothing.
yes, you have to decide if you are pointing on something that you care about and build upon, or if you want to do like the one incredible shot and then disappear, because this is more or less
Yeah,
what
this
happens
is
in a lot of
common.
fields.
Yes, and I think you just have to show people who you are in life. So, because often collectors talk to you, they try to understand you as person, and if they like you, they're gonna buy your art. It's really, how to say, they value the person behind the art, not the, because art is everywhere. Everybody can make even one, drawing like whatever, and you can put it on sale and people gonna buy it, but in the end of the day that person is just doing it for money. It's like, how to say, it's not that valuable. I don't know, it's just a painting. There's a lot of people, there's a lot of artists, but in the end they bought people art, because that's not art for a day. It's 10 years of his life, it's it's something more. It's not just picture, you know. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, and I think nowadays it's very, very important, your personal brand, as we were saying before,
Yes.
because I mean, I've been lately watching on YouTube some pieces of this trial between Johnny Depp and Amber Heard,
Yeah.
and you're like, oh my god, these people are like crazy. What kind of relationship did they have? And Johnny Depp, for that reason, he needed to stop doing the new sort of Harry Potter spin-off movies, the Fantastic
Mhm.
Beasts, and they were about to do a new Pirates of the Caribbean, and they stopped that because of his personality. Like he is accused of
Yeah.
hitting a woman, and his personal brand is ruined until he's trying to prove the contrary. And I guess what you're trying to explain with this NFT personal relationship with the artist is exactly that. I guess you don't want to buy, I don't know, the paintings and 2 days later discover that it's a
Yeah,
rapist
something's
or
bad happening. Yeah, yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, it's just more important to be a nice person and to really to not be driven from the money. Let's
Mm.
say that way.
And what was for you the personal experience into actually turning an image into an NFT? What kind of platforms did you use to sell your NFTs? The main platform I know about, it's OpenSea, and there you can use I think Ethereum or Polkadot. We have had other guests, Fabio Palvelli, he's also a 3D artist. He told me they use Tezos to sell, and I don't remember what was called the actual platform where you go to buy. Tezos is the blockchain, and I don't remember on which platform they sold it. What is your personal um, workflow with turning your art into NFT?
Because I was challenged to receive an invitation so I could share my
I,
art.
I
There's
it
no
froze a little bit in the beginning. On which platform did you say you are?
foundation.
Foundation.
It's different because you should be invited to
Mm-hmm.
share there.
Mm-hmm.
It's like not everybody can share their art there. So hopefully I received the invitation really fast through the Twitter community NFT Freaks. I don't know if I have to say it.
No, you can say everything you want.
Yeah, which is a big compliment to my work because they appreciate. I didn't know what exactly I was doing. I was thinking that it's another platform like Behance or Dribo, And I was like, okay, I need an invitation. I'm gonna ask for it. And then when I understand how quickly I received the invitation, it was really a compliment because a couple of times I was enjoying their spaces and they let me talk there and they were like, okay. And sometimes they have that kind of spaces that through the day you share your art, and after that they comment it and trying to say that's a good art because they just comment the art and they actually find something in my works. So I was really appreciated. Foundation works with Ethereum, which I think is more safe to work with because I don't understand every coin. I can't understand every coin, and I think Ethereum is safe for now. It's clear. Because I easily get confused with crypto things. So I believe this platform is better because it connects me with really quality collectors and artists because not everybody can be part of it. You only need an invitation. It's like something special. I don't know, makes me feel safe because I don't feel safe in calculations and money and, and crypto.
And do you which blockchain did you use? Ethereum or something else?
Ethereum.
Ethereum. And then you have a gas fee, right? Like I know that,
Yes.
and this is something that I didn't know about. That when you buy NFT on Ethereum blockchain, there is this gas fee, which it's basically you pay sort of a tax to
Yeah.
Ethereum, and sometimes the gas fee can be higher than the price of the NFT itself.
Yes. The first time I had to a lot of money because I don't understand what's happening. I was doing it of some peak. I don't know, like the programs here, they telling me like, for example, give me $300, and I was like, okay, from my bank account, give them $300. And while I was waiting for the transaction to become, there's like, no, you have to give $350. And I was like, what? And I lost like 1,000 leva then back then, $500 on gas fees, and I was like, this doesn't cost that much, you know. I sold it okay, but in the end I was like, I paid more taxes than I earned from the
NFT.
from the painting, you know. But after that I started to learn, I understand that, I started to watch when the gas is low, and you know, you started to just do things, not like I'm really intuitive. I just do it, and then what happened? And then when you don't do it really good and you lose, you just, okay, let's think about it, let's read about it, and let's do it then. So yeah, it's complicated, but once you get this issue and you know about it, it's okay.
And so, do you know a place where people can get like the problem with the whole world, crypto and NFT right now is that it's very, very scattered. It's like you have to go on Twitter and find some
Yeah, Discord.
community and hope that the community is legit. And then you start trying stuff. And as you said, your personal experience, you can lose money on crypto.
Mhm.
Do you know if there is any place where it's a little bit more structured to get like a step by step, for example, instructions on the main uh,
There is
NFT way?
there is a communities again. Like for Bulgarians, we have Bulgarian NFT group. Uh, it's on Twitter, private group, or in Discord. You can be there and you can ask questions, and there's rules that you should follow. Like, and there's a lot of information in the internet. It's just you must find that. That community that speaks your language, let's say that way, that it's understandable for you, because most of the information I have is from other artists because we understand each other. If I ask financiers or people that work with money, it's much harder for me to understand what they're saying than another artist. Just most of the people I talk to, they experience the same thing with the gas taxes, and they lose money at the first time they did it. And if you're lucky enough to talk with them before you lose your money, great. But yeah, most of the time you just have to find your place from where to have your information. But people started to talk a lot. Even in Bulgaria, we have couple of TV shows that on the they talk about it. So I think it's just a matter of time to find the place that you actually understand what they're talking about.
What TV shows in Bulgaria talk about this crypto and NFT?
I don't know if you know Gala and Coffee na Cafe.
Oh yeah,
I'm not sure.
Coffee with
Yeah,
Gala.
yeah, and Bulgarian national television, some morning shows. I'm not sure which one. We have a really good and big NFT creator, MZK. I don't know if you know him.
No, never heard about him.
People often invite him to podcasts and different media. He's really good at what he's doing. So he's the main face of the community, I guess, in Bulgaria. Or I didn't meet any other people that are so famous in that field.
Have you interacted with him so far?
Yes, I followed him years ago, and when he started doing NFTs, it's like he had that meetup in a Bulgarian design group where we listened to his experience, how he started, and then I spot him on HiCom podcast and so on, and he started just being invited everywhere to talk about it. So it's really nice to know that kind of person.
On which podcast did you hear him?
HiCom, you know?
No, what is this podcast? Is it like about NFTs? Is it an international podcast?
No, it's technologies and stuff. It's like I will show you later.
No,
Yeah.
you can send me just a link, and I'll put it in the
Yes.
description of this episode, and you can send me also a couple of links about the Twitter communities you trust.
Yes.
About you can decide what you're gonna send me. Of course, the links of
Okay.
your own pages so that people can go and find you. So that they can go see. Maybe if you send me some pictures of your art, I will put them in the video while we're talking, so that when we talk your
Also,
art, people will be able to actually see the paintings on YouTube. And I want to remind people to go and subscribe to YouTube of this podcast because it's really important. And Alex, we always want to finish in an inspirational and positive note every episode. So I ask everybody, you don't have to, some people think they have to tell me for every single point something, but if there is something that you like to go back when you need a little bit of inspiration, whether if it's a book, movie, music, podcasts, sport, traveling, I don't know, place. If there is something that you personally need to get your batteries recharged.
I find inspiration mostly in people. I like to surround myself with valuable people. They teach me, firstly, that the world does not revolve around me. Because sometimes when you live in your balloon, you know, it's like nothing else matter. I find in something burning in every person, you know, some spark. And I want to implement that spark in my art because I often concentrate on portraits and bodies. There's nothing that ignites me as much as body language, you know, and the lights of the eyes of a person when you talk to them, especially when that person is passionate about something. I like to explore people, to try to understand them, even to the cost to experience them. You know, it's like with all their problems or happiness or whatever, to try to feel their emotion. As one of my best works are after a provocation by communication. After I communicate with somebody or talk with somebody, I got inspired by them. Because in order to I need to be able to experience them. You know, sometimes people can't be that how to say, they can't experience emotion, or it's wrong, or it's not at the time, you know. And often when we live in that fast life, you just think about a lot of things and stuff, um, you lose that spark. You can lose that spark. And for me, it's important if you see my art, even for a second, and you get excited about it, it's a reward for me. Of course, it's a reward to be in Ethereum, but okay, it can be it can be emotion too. For me, it's valuable for like an artist if I can touch you and make you feel something, and that's kind of I started to feel NFT this way because it became really important in Twitter. And for example, when you're just scrolling and reading some text, news, jokes and stuff, you just pop up some art and you're like, oh, okay, I like that. And you just, there's a like I like to say it's like a wink to each person to recognize the power of paintings and art and that emotion that makes you smile or feel sad because a lot of paint artists go there with the sad emotions, with sexy emotion, other with different stuff. So communication with people are one of my biggest engine for art. Other things like movies, of course, I'm really big fan, and if you know me, you'll know how much I was impressed by the movie Dune. It's magical. And I've always been searching for that kind of movies to understand why they important, why they great, and they're really important for me as a storytelling methods. How you can tell a story through sounds, movements, pictures, everything. And yes, I have a lot of other hobbies like everybody. I'm enjoying books. I read 2 books at a time, almost every time, because I need one that I learn from it, but it's getting really heavy, and then I need something to just relax for some time because reading it's really nice to think how characters they how to say you can see the pictures only by reading letters. It's weird, but it's really nice experience every time when they explain landscapes or someone's face or whatever emotions, everything only by letters, and it's really amazing. And music is life. Yeah, for me music is life. I rarely exist in silence. Almost every time around me there's music, because it helps me with the moods. I can easily change moods. So it's better for me to have music to think about how my mood is going. So yeah, it's really nice for like 6 years or something. So yeah, normal things.
It sounds great. It's been very inspiring to be talking with you. I always say that this is your first time on the Creative Insider podcast, but it doesn't have to be the last. So in a couple of months or in a year, if there are some news you want to share, or if there is a topic you want to discuss around NFT or whatever, something else, all the guests are always welcome back. And thank you very much, Alex. And last but not least, for the people who are listening, they can find you on Instagram. This is at alex.nft. And also on Twitter, as you guys heard, it's the place for NFTs at Alex Mileva, aka Silly Goose.
No, I have another one.
Oh, which one is the other one? The NFT one. I know this one.
Professional one.
No, I gave the private one. Well, guys, you can go on the private one. There are very interesting spaces you can join sometimes.
Thank you.
And what is
Thank you so much for hearing me.
what is the other Twitter?
Other one is alex.nft, alexm.nft, or Alexandra Mileva, alexandra.mileva.
Okay.
It's almost the same. I'm gonna share it with you.
Yes.
Thank you so much for having me. It was really nice. I am guest for the first time speaking about my art and stuff, and it's really special for me. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And again, to all the listeners, you'll find all the links in the description. And don't forget to subscribe to wherever you're listening to this podcast. Bye bye. Hey there. Thank you very much for listening to this podcast episode. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel here and maybe watch another one here or vice versa. I don't know where the stuff is. Thank you very much and stick around for the next episode. Bye bye. Have a good week.